Oh, wow. A lot has been happening in this country, and it's definitely hard to keep quiet. And of course, on the topic of Charlie Kirk, there are several hundreds and hundreds of video out there, and I was thinking, should I even make one more video? And I was debating it, but eventually I was like, no, Joy, go ahead and make it. Especially for the legacy of Charlie Kirk. I believe he wanted us to go out there and share and express ourselves to effect positive change. So for his legacy, I believe it's a good thing. Let the videos keep coming, let people keep sharing, especially positive things. So yes, as an immigrant living in America, I am an American citizen, but of course I'm an immigrant. I want to reflect on the recent violence incident against Charlie Kirk. I want to share my own perspective and just reflect on it. And hopefully you share my reflection. Maybe you share my meditations too. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with this. When I first saw what happened to Charlie Kirk, my immediate reaction was shocked and sadness. I even posted on my Facebook, like right away, without knowing anything about him. I posted on my Facebook and I said, what has this country turned into? What's happening to our country? And of course, I posted a clip of the headline that he was shot at. At that moment, I did not assume he would pass away. I thought maybe injuries or something like that. Anyway, I posted it, say, what has our country turned into? That was my specific post on Facebook. And many people responded with support, with positive reply. And then some people reply with, well, you are an immigrant, Joy. America is not your country. And of course, there were other negative reply like, "Oh, you don't know him. He's a racist. You don't know what you're talking about. Joy, go and check your facts," and different replies. Of course, there were great positive replies, but I want to talk about the negative replies because that was the one that shocked me. I didn't expect anything negative from anybody. Those negative reactions stunned me because in my mind, I'm like, where is our humanity? My first instinct reacting to what happened to Charlie Kirk wasn't about his race, his skin color, nationality, or political views. It was simply to condemn violence against another human being. I mean, isn't that what any decent person should feel? But instead of uniting against violence, some people were questioning whether I even had the right to care. You are not an American, you are a Nigerian. America is not your country. You don't know he's racist and all that. Look, I didn't know anything about Charlie Kirk when I posted my first message because my reaction is that this is not good. What is happening to America? This is not good. And I believe that is the right human reaction that anyone should have when we saw that video. We should not be thinking, oh, yeah, before I care, let me see if he's black. Let me see if he loves black people. Let me see if he's a Christian. Let me see. No, I just react like I mean, I believe godly reaction to when you see another soul, another human being being hurt should be like, no, this is not right. And that was my reaction. Anyway, moving along, of course, I ignored those negative comments and kept my post. I did not take my post down. The America that I fell in love with, and I believe most of immigrants fell in love with, was a nation where people rose together to defend human dignity, regardless of status, regardless of race, regardless of background of that human being. I mean, unlike some of us immigrants came from, where justice is reserved only for the powerful, only for do you know who my father is? Do you know who I am? Kind of status, people with status. But America is not so. America stood for fairness, freedom, and human rights, regardless of who you are. And America had respect for everybody, whether you are a janitor or you are the senator. America is a place that respects humanity and human lives. But today, I will not lie to you, I am very much worried about the present state of America. Yes, we are watching evil slowly creep into our schools, our malls, our communities. And instead of being shocked by the violence itself, some people are distracted and divided. And they are saying, he belongs to the left and the right. He black and white, and just all these terrible things. And we are losing humanity. We are losing the togetherness. We are losing what makes America great. So I am thinking we have to check ourselves. We really have to check ourselves individually. We have to meditate and say, what am I contributing to this country? I want to share some things, some personal examples of why I am so concerned about the America of today. As a nurse, I practice in the environment of what they call private duty nursing. And in private duty nursing, we have the privilege of going into people's home. So I got to see what life was like inside another person home with a different background, different culture, different tradition. And here are some of the things I saw why in other Americans' home, whether they are Spanish Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, whatever it is, these are some of the things I have witnessed in their home that is making me to be concerned about the America of today and the future of America. So here's the deal. I come into people's home and the children have different medical condition. Some of our children that we take care of, they may have a hole on their neck and they can't breathe on their own, so they are breathing through what we call tracheostomy. Or some of them cannot eat, they cannot swallow, and so we as nurses get to feed them through the G tube. And so we have the opportunity and the privileges to stay in somebody's home for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and we get to see different aspects of their lives. Some of the aspect, of course, encourage us to do better, even in our own personal home. And then some of the aspects also shock us, like what I'm about to share with you today. There are some homes I come in, and as I'm taking care of the medical child, I'll see the normal child, a 4-year-old girl or a 3-year-old girl, and she's locked up in a bedroom, right? I'm going to use the name Dora. I open a room and I see Dora locked up in a room by herself watching a highly demonic movie. A 3-year-old child, a 4-year-old child. And she's allowed to have the remote control and exposed to Netflix, and she can pick whatever movies. And I will meditate and I'll be like, my goodness, even I am older, what I see on the screen shocked me. And I'm thinking, what is this child being exposed to? There are instances that as a Christian, I have opportunity to minister to the moms, and I will talk to them about Jesus. Sometimes I will talk to them, you have to be careful of what you expose your child to. Demonic movies, they have effect because a lot of them are spiritually blind. They have no understanding that what we see, what we consume, invites certain spirit into our heart. And so sometimes I minister to them. Look at the movie. Look out, this child, you have to be careful what you expose her to. And some of them even talk to me, they confess to me, my child is having nightmare and screaming and saying things that a child ought not to say. And I will try my best to connect what they are exposing their children to, and how that can have access into their soul, into their spirit. One in particular, I came into the house, the mom was in the bedroom, and immediately I knock, hey, open the door. I opened the door and I saw what was on this TV screen. And I was shocked. As in, I was like, kind of like afraid. As a grown woman, I was afraid because the screen was so demonic. So demonic, the video game. And I keep meditating, what are these people exposing their children to? Why don't they have understanding that these things come into the soul? That this is an access, this is an avenue for demons to access your children. It may not manifest now. It may manifest through just simple dreams, small nightmare, but when those spirit comes in, they stay and they work on the child. Small sin, small misbehavior, and they monitor these children until the time is ripe, and then they will now say, "Oh yeah, take the gun and go to the elementary school. Take the gun and go to the high school." Because when they allow these children to be assessed by this demonic spirit, those things stay. And I've seen a lot of this in American homes. Black Americans home, white Americans home, Spanish American, name it. I've seen what they allow the little kids to have access to. One of the mother specifically, she talked to me when I came to her home. She said, "Hey Joy, are you Nigerian? I can hear the accent." I said, "Yes, I have a Nigerian background, but I've been in America for over 20 years. I went to middle school, high school, everything, but my accent have refused to leave." And as we're gisting and chatting, she said, "Look, I love Nigerian nurses. I think you are great, but I don't want you preaching to my daughter. Not the daughter with the medical need, but the grown ones. I don't want you telling them about Jesus and hellfire and all that." And then she gave me an example. Can you believe a nurse came in here, and when she had the opportunity, she told my daughter that she's gonna go to hell. And my daughter came to me and that, and she's like, "Look, I don't want none of that. Anybody telling my daughter about this, about Jesus, about heaven, about hell. You just do your job and go." And I meditated on what she said. Eventually, I saw her and her daughter in interactions, and I saw how rude. This is not like, oh, from the Nigerian lens, the daughter is rude. No, even from the American lens, the daughter was extremely rude to the mom. You see them fighting as if they were mates. You see her talking to the mom as if the mom was just whatever. And in my heart, I was like, wow, no wonder the other Nigerian nurse attempted to minister to this girl. But now the mom is warning me nobody should minister to her daughter. Her daughter is fine. She loves her daughter. Please don't tell her about heaven. Don't tell her about hell. Of course, I didn't last in that house. I didn't stay long. It was a temporary case. But I knew that if I had access to the daughter, I would definitely minister to her. I may not just say, "Oh, you are going to hell if you don't repent." I would tell her about Jesus and the love of Jesus, and basically share with her where she would desire to know Jesus. Nobody can stop me from doing that. I will definitely do that in every opportunity I get. Anyway, moving along. As I return back to the America that we have today, and I am so worried about where we are heading, I want to ask you, as you watch tragedies upon tragedies like this Charlie Kirk's tragedy unfold, what will you do? Will you reflect on your role in keeping America the safe haven it was meant to be? Will you stand for what is right before violence touch your home, your child's school, your grocery store, your mall? Or will you keep watching silently until it's too late? What will you do? Will you also just be in the hype of all that is going on? And then, as usual, the hypes will eventually die down. And then every one of us just continue with our normal life as if this tragedy and all the other tragedies and the ones that are to come never happened. We just experience the shock, scream our heads out, settle into normal life as if it never happened, and then the next one will struck, and then we repeat the same cycle. What will you do? As you are meditating on it, no rush. I want to go to point number 2, my second point as I meditate on this whole tragedy. So please bear with me. I remember the Bible. And I recall that public debate and resistance to truth is nothing new. It has always been part of the human story. Even in the times of Jesus, his audience, the Pharisees, the teachers of the law, and even ordinary crowds often reacted violently to Jesus' words. In John chapter 8, verse 59, when Jesus spoke the truth, they picked up stones to throw at him. So you see the tendency to be violent toward the truth. And it wasn't just Jesus that, humans have that reaction to. Before Jesus, many prophets were persecuted, rejected, even killed for daring to speak God's truth. Humanity has always resisted what it doesn't want to hear, especially truth. Of course, we can't forget the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul especially endured repeated persecution for proclaiming the gospel, the truth. In Acts 14, verse 19, Paul was stoned in Lystra and left for dead. They thought he was dead. That's violence against the truth. In Acts 16, 22 to 23, Paul and Silas were stripped, beaten, and thrown into prison. In Acts chapter 19, Paul was nearly torn apart in the riot at Ephesus because of the truth. So we see time and time again, Paul faced angry mobs, false accusations, and brutal attacks simply because he proclaimed the truth. So when I look at what happened here in America, I am reminded that humanity has not changed. The truth has always been hated, and it is no wonder that God Himself, yes, God Himself is hated by some, not all. Thank God for salvation. God is hated by some because He is truth. You can see that in John 14, verse 6. God is Himself, the creator of human being. Himself is hated because He is truth. As I go into my last meditation, and if I miss anything, please add in the comments. My last meditation concerning all that has happened, I can't help but to think of the consequences of a life given to God versus a life that is given to evil. It plays out in the current event. It plays out perfectly well. Every life produces a fruit, either for good or for evil. Look at Charlie Kirk's life. Or even Tyler Robinson, the one that shot him. Look at his life. See the impact of one person who chooses to live for God, Charlie, and the other person who chose to be used by evil, suspected shooter, Tyler. Their influence stretches far beyond themselves. One human being can become a vessel of unimaginable destruction. History gives us chilling examples. Hitler, Sterling, and others who surrendered themselves to the enemy and brought suffering to millions. But history also gives us a radiant example of lives surrendered to God. Let's think of Mother Teresa, who poured herself out for the poor. Billy Graham, who carried the gospel across nations. Martin Luther King Jr., who fought for justice with faith and courage. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who stood against tyranny with unshakable conviction. And yes, even today, we can add the likes, we can add specifically Charlie Kirk, who boldly stood for the truth. Each of these remind us of the power of one life fully given to God. It's powerful. Just one human being. And so, as I conclude, I return to the question I asked you earlier, and a question that I'm also asking myself, meditating on my answers. What will you do? What will you do? You're going to wait for everything to calm down and then pick up life as usual? Or would you go to God in prayers and say, no, God, I need to do something from right now. Lead me, direct me. What will you do? I spoke about the power of one human being. You are that one human being. You are the one who can choose good or evil by what you do starting from today. You are the one who can stand in the gap, share the gospel, hand out a tract at Walmart, at your local HEB, at Costco, wherever you do your grocery shopping. Yes, you can be shopping and say, good, hello, good afternoon. Give tract to somebody, give the gospel to somebody. You are that one that can change the world. You are the one who can stop another soul from surrendering to evil by pointing them to Christ. You are that one. What are you doing in your neighborhood? What are you doing on Saturday where you have a whole bunch of your neighbors at the park hanging out? Can you find one or two persons in the park to say, how are you? How is your day going? Isn't this park so lovely? Oh, it's so beautiful. I want to talk to you about Jesus. You are that one. Think about it. As the news comes out and they're like, the one that shot Charlie, oh, he's a good guy. He's a quiet guy. He's 4.0. He doesn't, do. But look at what he did. So don't say in your heart, my neighbors are good. They are quiet people. Their children get 4.0. The Bible says the human heart is deceitful and desperately wicked. And there is none that is good. No, not one. That's the word of Jesus. So forget the whole, when we see and we use our human eyes and we're like, oh, this person is good. Even some of them, they claim to be Christians. Share the gospel. That's the bottom line. Never underestimate the power of one life. One person can unleash great harm. And also one person surrender to God can bring immeasurable good to this world. Don't sit back and watch things deteriorate. Don't. Let this be a turning point in our lives. I pray that God will give you and I courage, that we will not continue to sit idly, doing nothing about evil springing up left, right, and they are coming closer and closer and closer. And some of you watching this video, you may have been blessed that maybe the day it happened in your high school or in your child's school, your child didn't go to school that day. But don't sit around. Do something now. Take action now. Let us, every one of us, begin to push back darkness. Before you know, they are going to celebrate their Halloween, and more darkness is going to enter the children. More darkness is going to come into people's home. On that day, on that Halloween day, are you going to share the gospel? Are you going to lock yourself in the room, turn off all the light, and say, nobody come near my house? It's a great opportunity for you to share the gospel. Put the candy outside. Let them come. Tell them about Jesus. This is a great opportunity for you to put gospel tracks, wrap it in candy or with candy. So that gospel track is going to get in a home because of that candy. And somebody thinking of hurting themselves, take on unaliving themselves, will unwrap. God will use it. The person unwrap that candy and boom, read about Christ. Stand in the gap for this great nation. We all came to America for a better life. We all came to America because some of us, where we came from, it's so bad. There's no human right. There's no respect for humanity. Left and right, you see lives being wasted on the side of the road anywhere. Anyone can do and undo, and there's no justice. And we come to this beautiful country, and we have confidence, we have good job, we have freedom of speech, we have freedom to live. So many beautiful things, and darkness is encroaching. And we are just watching. That's them. Well, those, and then we use racist discrimination. Those people, they get angry, they pick up the gun, and they just destroy everyone. And we continue, and we continue, and God forbid one day it enters our home. God forbid. Do something. Prayerfully go before the Lord, and the Lord will put ideas in your mind and in your heart of what you can do. Even if things does not get better, in the end, you will say, I did something. I did something. The power of one life, doing something, taking action. That is the example that Charlie Kirk has laid down for you and for me. Do something. I pray that the Lord will empower you, the Lord will empower me in Jesus' name. Amen.